story time. I decided to wear my hat that I made a new hat band for. Yes, those are alligator teeth on the hat band. I made the hat band. These are not necessarily the biggest teeth from that alligator. I tried to make where they all match. At any rate, today's story involves the Yankees. Talked to you about them before. At any rate, when I first started going out fishing with the Yankees, they did bring some food with them, for lunch. Always do a shore lunch. My typical things: Vienna sausages, beanie weenies, potted meat and crackers. Quick, easy to eat things. Not usually potato chips, but a pack of nab crackers. Captain's wafers, whatever. It was just easy to eat snacks that messy hands you didn't have to get into that much. Well, after a couple trips, they stopped bringing their own food and started getting into mine. I always had extra, but yeah, it started getting a little expensive to feed 2 or 3 other fellas. Yes, there were times when there was 3, mainly it was 2. So I started looking for other off-the-wall things. Plus, I was getting a little tired of Vienna sausage and beanie weenie. We were fishing a lot. So I got into eating some smoked mussels, clams, as it were, in a can. They didn't like those. I didn't mind them. They weren't my favorite, but they were good to eat. So, flash forward, a couple weeks after that, we were taking a fishing trip, saltwater, trolling for sea trout, spot-tail bass, occasional flounder, whatever would hit, just trolling jigs around behind the boat. Now, they had been with me before doing this, so we kind of knew what was going on, and we were pretty sure we were going to catch some fish. And I had hatched out a plan. The only thing I brought with me was smoked mussels. That was it. Didn't bring any Vienna sausages, no beanie weenie, nothing. Now, they were bringing their own drinks, thankfully, so we had a cooler full of drinks. But the only thing they were going to have to eat that day was fish, if we caught fish. And hopefully we could find a place to pull off on the bank and cook it. Of course, I knew where we could do that as well, and find a little bit of firewood. More on that later. So we get to trolling, and we're actually not having a very good day compared to the week before. We finally catch a couple small keeper-sized trout, and it's about lunchtime. So these guys are getting kind of hungry, and I'm getting kind of hungry. So I suggest we have lunch. I said, "What'd you bring?" They said, "Well, you didn't." I was like, "Nope. I guess you're gonna have to cook the fish or something, because all I got is these smoked mussels." Did not like that idea, none at all. So they were like, "Yeah, we'll go cook fish. We can always do it over fork over a fire." This is where it gets interesting. Now, we were fishing in a river that pretty much has marsh everywhere you go, except this one little spot with a little small island with some pine trees and some palmetto trees on it. There may have been some other shrubs, scrub stuff, but nothing major. So when we got there, all you had to cook on was pine logs, pine branches, and palmetto fronds. Now, don't know what you know about the South, don't know what you know about those things, but they're not the best things to cook on. Especially if you're not taking a pan and putting it over the coals just to heat it. If you're trying to cook a fish over them whole, they impart a bad flavor. And of course, didn't have any salt and pepper or anything like that. I didn't usually take that stuff. I didn't usually have shore lunch like that. So they proceed to get a fire going, and they get a fork stick and put the fish over the fire and get it all cooked up. And that must have been the most disgusting, horrible tasting fish, looking at their faces, they ever wanted to have. It was hilarious. It was brilliant on my part. They ate as much as they could stomach of fish, and of course I'm sitting there with my smoked clams. I ate some smoked clams. We get done and proceed to shove off and go on up the river, or down the river a little bit. It was actually down. And I knew about 2 miles from the spot where we were at, if it was even 2 miles, mainly as the river goes, there's this gas station right by a boat ramp. This gas station sells pizzas and all kind of things. Well, typical gas station fare, I think they had pizzas, they had sandwiches, stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't, they didn't have a lunch counter with fried chicken and stuff like some of them do these days. So I go ahead and troll the next 2 miles, which is down where they hadn't been before. And they're like, "What's that?" I was like, "Well, I was headed to the gas station. I'm gonna get myself a pizza." They looked at me. Oh my God. They did have money though, and they got themselves a pizza and ate. After that, I never had a problem with them dipping into my stuff again. They always either brought their stuff, or we had made plans occasionally to, pull up on the lake at one of the little marinas and have lunch or whatever, or even use that same gas station again to have lunch saltwater. It just goes to show you sometimes, just because somebody's being nice and allowing you to do something doesn't mean they're always going to let you do it. And they might just teach you a lesson the hard way if you insist on relying on them. It wasn't anything major, and like I said, I knew there was food, and if they hadn't had money, I'd have went ahead and bought them something. I wasn't going to, make them starve and make them just live off a few scraps of fish. Oh, and after we had the second lunch, as it were, we had a pretty good time fishing. We brought home quite a few fish, and it was a good trip. That was just one of many experiences with these guys that, hey, I didn't get ugly or mean with them. I did kid them about, I brought my food for me. I didn't bring my food for you. But they learned, and it was after that point I never had to feed them again unless I wanted to offer them something, myself. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the quick story. Hope you like the hat. It's just something I decided to do. It turning out to be springtime weather. I'm not going to be wearing this hat because it is a closed leather hat. I'm not going to be wearing it much until probably fall. And really my intent is not to wear this hat a whole lot. I didn't wear it a whole lot this past winter because I got a couple of nice wool hats. But it's just a nice, interesting hat that I'll probably wear here and there.